Hello, my name is Michelle and welcome to my channel, Michelle's Melancholia. Today I have a book haul for you. And I think since October, every new book I get, I've been putting in a little pile, and now the pile is getting out of control. I think I have about 30 new books that I've gotten since October, so I'm definitely going to divide this haul into at least 2 parts. So we'll just do some of them today and then I'll have the rest in a separate video. And on that note, you may have noticed a lack of books on my shelf behind me. And the reason for that is that I am doing my annual end of year bookshelf clean out. So basically I will see which of the books I've read I want to keep, which ones I want to donate. If there are any books that I'm just frankly not interested in reading anymore, I can donate those as well. And just kind of take stock of what I have, what I want to read that's already in my bookshelves, and maybe I will decide if I need to partake in certain challenge that's been very popular on BookTube these days. And I may vlog this whole process, but that's for another day. Let's jump into the book haul. So starting with new books I got in October, the first one is actually a gift from my BookTube friend Roy from Roy Reads Anything, and this is The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. And although this is way more fantasy than horror, I really enjoy what I've read from Silvia Moreno Garcia. Obviously, the Mexican representation in her books is divine, and I've been saving these for a special project. The next book is actually another gift, and this is from my friend Marie. We're friends in real life. And she found this book in a charity shop and thought of me and gave it to me, so that's super nice of her. And this is the Edinburgh Graveyard Guide. So she definitely knows what I like. And this little book, as the title suggests, just gives you like a tour of different notable graveyards in Edinburgh. It even has a map. And it talks about the history of these graveyards a little bit, and it also mentions any headstones or graves of particular interest, for example, historical figures and things like that. And I'm really looking forward to actually taking this out with me into the different graveyards, but it's a bit too cold now for that. I may do some of them during the winter if I'm feeling particularly brave one day, otherwise this will be just so much fun to do during the spring. This next book I got for myself, and that's Stein Tinglers by R.L. Stein. And I actually saw these. Well, I already knew about the book, but then I saw that David from David's Book Reviews, he bought a signed copy at Forbidden Planet. So obviously I went and got my signed copy from Forbidden Planet as well. And by the way, this is new short stories by R.L. Stein, so obviously super exciting. Another book I got for myself is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. And this was meant to be a companion to Usher's passing, because I wanted to do a House of Usher themed video for October, but I didn't have time to get to it, so I'm definitely going to be doing it in the future. So the next book I got is Pearl by Josh Malerman, and I've already mentioned several times on the channel how much I loved his new book Daphne. And I read Daphne as part of a book club called In the Void Book Club that's hosted primarily on Instagram and Discord. Anyways, we had an incredible Zoom meeting with Josh Malerman where we discussed Daphne with him, and he said that actually he thinks of Pearl as a companion to Daphne because they have similarities. So I was super intrigued about that, so I got this one as well. Oh, and I almost forgot to say, Pearl is about a psychic murderous pig. So that sounds incredible, and this would work amazingly well for the Krampus prompt of the Christmas Eve readathon, because it's kind of like a creature feature, I suppose. I also got Hell House by Richard Matheson, and I was meant to read this for Ollie's birth year book tag read along, but again, October is always super busy, so I didn't have time to get to it, but I definitely have plans to read more Richard Matheson next year. Then there's 2 books I got in Waterstones. I had to go to Aberdeen for a day trip and I had to wait for a really long time for my train, so I browsed Waterstones, as you do. And these were part of the buy one, get one half price deal. So the first one I got is Hare House by Sally Hinchcliffe. And if you're doing Christmas Evil, this works for the occult prompt, I believe, because I'm pretty sure there is witchcraft in the story. And I got these Waterstones exclusive edition, and it has the black sprayed edges with a golden rabbit and stars, and it's like all black. It's really, really pretty. And the other one I got is a non-fiction book called Murder, the Biography, The Crimes, the Stories, the Law. This is by Kate Morgan. And in this book, she explores the strange stories and mysterious cases that have contributed to British murder law. So it is kind of true crime, but it's more focused on how certain cases have influenced law in Britain. So I thought it would be pretty interesting. Now, moving on to books I bought secondhand, and only 2 books are from a charity shop. The first one, which I thought was very curious looking, is Blood Heritage by Sherry S. Tepper. Badger Edison does not believe in demons until a shrieking, freezing horror escapes its ancient prison. A soulless hunger. Hunger that turns a beautiful woman into a shriveled husk before she has time to scream. Hunger that has no form, no substance, but fangs and claws and eyes to seek its prey. Badger Edison does not believe in magic, but the old blood rituals are the only way to stop the voracious evil that pursues his wife and son, and they demand that Badger must sacrifice one of the 2 he loves to save the other. Badger Edison does not believe in terror. Now he's living it. This looks like it may be trash, so I just may save it for Garbogost. And the other book I got in that charity shop is The Mystery of the Strange Piper by Charles E. McGarry. And obviously what caught my eye is this black goat that we typically associate with our friend Satan. And this sounded incredible because it has so many elements that I love. It says, asked by an old acquaintance to investigate a curse which is said to haunt the beautiful Scottish Isle of Sona, so Scottish setting, tick, Leo Moran finds himself drawn into an extraordinary drama of envy, shame and vengeance. He investigates the events of summer 1989, when a group of high-spirited teenagers dabbled in an occult ritual, the occult, check, with tragic consequences. The teenagers are now in middle age, but acrimony persists over that terrible night. Death strikes again, and Leo realizes that his presence on the island is not welcome, and that there are dark forces at work beyond his imagining. And then I realized that on the front it says the 3rd Leo Moran murder mystery. So obviously I had to investigate, and apparently this is a series about this kind of like supernatural detective or guy that investigates supernatural crimes, which is another thing that I absolutely love. And I found out that my local library has the first book, which is The Ghost of Helen Addison, which I'm currently reading for Christmas Evil. Then there's 2 used books that I order online, and these are also for a themed video, which will become very obvious. The first one is In the Shadow of the Cat by Wendy England. I just love this cat on the cover, he's so cute. And the tagline is, Curiosity kills. Catherine Coventry travelled from London to Brackenridge Estate for her mother's funeral. There were secrets, whispers, fear. She was warned but didn't believe a word of it. Catherine found the wedding ring and pin that she herself had sealed inside her mother's coffin. Then blood in the kitchen, fire in the sky, but it was too late. An unspeakable horror had already wheeled her into the terrifying world of the unreal. So actually I have no idea what role the cat plays in this, but we'll see. And the other one is a children's book by Christopher Pike from the Spooksville series, and it is The Wicked Cat. A tree falls down, a house catches fire, bad things happen, and the cat is always there watching with its strange green eyes. Then it begins to use its power on Adam and his friends. And finally, we have books from secondhand bookshops that are not charity shops. So from Teal's bookshop, I got the Second Pan Book of Horror Stories. And this book was first published in 1960, but this particular copy is from 1963. And that was already its 7th printing. So actually this books were pretty popular in the UK, and I've seen them on eBay and Etsy, and sometimes they can be quite expensive, and actually I had some trouble locating the second one for a non-ridiculous price. So I was really lucky to find it there, although they did know that this is old and rare because it says so here in pencil. I don't know if you can see. And it cost me £7, which for these types of shops is a lot, but still much better than what I had seen online, so that's why I got it. Then I found this point horror book, The Mummy, by Barbara Steiner. Lana's passionate about ancient Egypt. She's read everything about the subject, decorates her room with hieroglyphics, and even wears her hair like Cleopatra. She'll make the perfect guide for the museum's Egyptian exhibition. Someone's also convinced she'll make a perfect bride for Prince Nefra. Lana's not so sure, but she is strangely drawn to him and seems to hear him calling out to her. Maybe they really should be together forever. The only thing is, Nefra's been dead for thousands of years. And it's really hard to find point horror books in these kinds of shops as well, so I guess that was kind of my lucky day, so I got this one as well. And finally, I decided to get an Ian McBain book, because I always see them in this shop. They always have loads, and I never thought to get them until Ollie from Criminally mentioned that they could be really good, so I asked him if any that were in the shop that day were particularly good, and he said this one. So I got He Who Hesitates, and I actually have no idea what this is about because the back of the book seems to have like an excerpt of the book, so I guess I'm just gonna go in blind with this. And finally, I got 3 books from Armchair Books, which is probably my favorite used bookshop in Edinburgh. And it's kind of weird because I never or rarely, very rarely find horror there or horror books that I want. So I usually end up buying books from other genres, but I just love going there so much. If I can find them, I'll just add some clips of the shop because it's just like a book lover's dream. Anyways, they do have quite a lot of science fiction. So, of course, I got The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells from these science fiction masterworks editions that, you know, I love. And I don't know if you remember a haul I uploaded like a month ago where I hauled a retelling or a book related to The Island of Dr. Moreau. So now I have this one, that one, and The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. So yeah, themed video coming up sometime next year. And then I got 2 maths books. So sorry if you don't find this interesting at all. The first one is Professor Stewart's Cabinet of Mathematical Curiosities, and this is a book I've wanted to own since I was doing my undergrad in maths, but they were expensive in Mexico back then, so I never had the chance. So I was like super excited to find it. So basically, this is written by a quite famous mathematician called Ian Stewart, and this includes a collection of games, puzzles, stories, jokes and factoids, odd items of mathematical culture, buzzwords, card tricks, things to make and things to do. So it's basically about maths things that are fun. And the last book is Flatterland, like Flatland, only more so, also by Ian Stewart. And this references a book from 1884 called Flatland, which is also super interesting. But the point of this book is that through storytelling, the author tries to convey quite complex mathematical concepts, but in like a very intuitive way. It says it provides a dazzling, completely accessible guide to the concepts behind contemporary mathematics. An endless stream of ingeniously funny wordplay and crackling dialogue is built into a storyline that weaves its way through all the main areas of current mathematical theory, including the enormous variety of geometries, the nature of space, time, and matter, and how they inform our understanding of the shape of the universe. So I am very much looking forward to reading this and seeing if I actually understand any of these things even a little bit better. And that is all. This video is already quite long, so I will see you on part 2 of the haul. But until then, goodbye.